Have you ever looked at your growing pile of Pokemon cards and thought, I wonder if I can make some money from these? Well, you absolutely can. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to sell Pokemon cards casually without turning it into a full-time job. Whether you've got duplicates or you're looking to fund your next booster box purchase, this beginner's guide will walk you through everything you need to know to start selling Pokemon cards. I've been casually selling Pokemon cards for the past 2 or 3 months now, and it's completely transformed how I approach the Pokemon card hobby. Instead of letting duplicates gather dust, I've turned them into cash that funds new purchases. Just last month, I made over $1,000 selling cards that I didn't need, enough to buy some cards that I've been eyeing and still have money left over for more packs. The best part is that I did this all casually, without spending hours every day. Here's what we're going to cover in this video. First, I'll show you the best ways to source cards to sell. Then I'll break down the different platforms where you can sell your cards. And next, I'll reveal which cards actually sell well, and it might surprise you. Finally, I'll share my pricing strategies that help cards move quickly. First, finding your cards. The treasure hunt begins. The first step in selling Pokemon cards is actually having cards to sell. And there are 2 main ways to source cards. First, you have opening products yourself or buying collections. Opening packs is the most exciting method. There's nothing quite like the thrill of pulling a chase card, but it can get expensive really quickly. If you're going this route, finding packs at MSRP or manufacturer's suggested retail price is crucial for maintaining your profit margins. I've had the most success finding reasonably priced packs at big retailers like Walmart and Target. These stores typically sell at MSRP, but timing is everything. You need to catch them right after a restock happens. I've literally walked onto Target at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday and found fully stocked shelves, only to return the next day that the shelves were completely empty. For online purchases, I've been using PokeNotify, who's kindly sponsoring today's video. This service watches hundreds of websites and sends alerts as soon as new products become available. I've managed to grab some really hard to find items like the Black Bolt and White Flare Pokemon Center ETBs at retail prices because of their alerts. You can try it free for 3 days, and if you like it, use my code PalettePicks25 for 25% off your first month. The link is in the description below. But here's my secret weapon for sourcing cards: buying local collections at 70% market price. This strategy has been a game changer for my selling business. The local collection goldmine: buy low, sell high. Buying local collections has become my primary method for sourcing cards and collecting cards. I regularly browse Facebook groups, OfferUp, and Facebook Marketplace looking for people selling their entire collections. I've managed to buy collections for as low as 59% of market value and rarely ever go above 75%. The key is being ready to message sellers quickly with a fair offer. I've created a keyboard shortcut on my iPhone to speed up this process, and here's how you can do the same. So the only way I know how to do this is on an Apple device. So first, you're going to open up your iPhone, and then you want to find where it says settings. So just type in settings right over here. Now, once you're in settings, you want to scroll down to where it says general. So tap on general. Then afterwards, find where it says keyboard, which is located right over here. And then find where it says text replacement. So if you scroll down here, you can see that text replacement is basically a shortcut in which when you type in a certain phrase, it'll auto-populate like an entire message. So if you see under here where it says P, if I type in the words Poke DESC, it autofills this entire message. And if I type in Poke Outreach, I have an outreach message that I send to individuals when I'm trying to buy their collections. So in order to do this, you just press the plus icon on the upper right hand side. So once you reach text replacement, the shortcut is the phrase that you're going to type, and that's going to automatically expand to a phrase. So let's say that our phrase is Poke Message, and we want the phrase to turn into Pokemon Interest. Okay, so this is just a really quick example. Then click on Save. So the shortcut cavity. So notice how under P, every time I type in Poke Message, it now auto-fills to Poke Interest. So to test this out, let's go into our notepad. Now when I type in Poke Message and then press space, it now auto-fills to Poke Interest. So I have these little shortcuts anytime I'm writing a description of my collection, or if I'm actually trying to reach out to individuals to buy their collections. So this simple automation has helped me respond to listings within seconds, and I basically use the same outreach message for potential sellers. And when someone is looking to sell quickly, being the first to offer cash at hand can make all the difference. Down below in the description, I'll copy and paste my exact message that I use as a shortcut, but once you've acquired cards to to sell, the next big decision is choosing where to sell them. And so for this video, I'm not going to teach you how to vend at local card shows because I think that's a lot of work. My goal is to just target a casual collector who wants to get rid of some extra duplicates or some cards that they don't want and then recycle money back into the hobby. So let me walk you through the platforms that I've had success with, starting with the most profitable option. Local sales. Maximum profit, maximum effort. Selling locally through Facebook groups, marketplace, or OfferUp consistently yields the highest profit margins. Without shipping costs or platform fees, you keep nearly all of the sale price. I've regularly sold cards locally for 90 to 100% of market value, which is significantly better than what you'll get on other platforms. The downside though is that it can be time consuming. You'll spend time negotiating with potential buyers who sometimes don't follow through, and you'll need to coordinate meetups. I once spent 30 minutes messaging with someone about a Charizard VMAX, only to have them ghost me right before our scheduled meeting. So despite these challenges though, I still prefer local sales because they allow me to build connections within the Pokemon community. I've met several regular trading partners and we now give each other first dibs or new acquisitions anytime we come across new cards that we don't want. For posting cards locally, I typically lay them out on a table, take some clear photos, and use a standard description template. Again, recall with my shortcut for outreach messages, I basically have this templated description, which I'll include down below. So these text replacements, I use them to quickly paste my standard listing text, and it makes it easier to list cards for sale. When meeting buyers, always choose public locations like coffee shops or mall food courts. Safety is always your priority. While local sales offer the best margins, they're limited by your geographic area. So to reach a wider audience, you'll want to explore online platforms, and that's where eBay comes into play. eBay, the biggest marketplace with the biggest fees. eBay undoubtedly has the largest market of the Pokemon card buyers in the world. I've completed well over 100 sales on the platform, reaching collectors I never could have found locally. However, there are two significant drawbacks to consider. First, listing cards on eBay is very time consuming. You need to take multiple photos, write descriptions, set shipping options, and more. It can take 5 to 10 minutes to list a single card properly. Second, the fees are substantial. Between eBay's commission around 12.9% plus 30 cents per order and PayPal fees, you can lose about 15 to 20% of your sale price. I've actually lost money on 3 different card sales just because I didn't calculate my fees correctly. So to ensure profitability, I make sure to mark up my cards. So cards under $5, I usually mark them up by 30 to 50%. Cards between 10 and 20 get a markup of around 20%. And then cards over $20, I usually mark these up by 10%. These markups help maintain healthy profit margins after accounting for all fees and shipping costs. It might seem high, but I've found that serious collectors are willing to pay these prices for cards in excellent condition, also with a seller with good rating. Let me show you my process for bulk listing on eBay to save time. First, check the condition of each card carefully. Search for each card on eBay and click save for later. Once you have all your cards saved, you can bulk edit them all at once. This method has cut my listing time in half and allows me to get more cards online quickly. But if you're looking for an even faster listing process, then TCG Player might be your answer. TCG Player, lightning fast listings for competitive cards. TCG Player has become my go-to platform for selling competitive cards like trainer cards and EX cards. The absolute best thing about TCG Player is its incredibly streamlined listing system. It's so easy and 10 times faster to list on TCG Player than it is on eBay. The platform is specifically designed for trading card games, so you don't need to fill out generic fields like you do on eBay. Just search for your card, select the condition, set your price, set your quantity, and you're done. I can list 20 cards on TCG Player at the same time it takes to list like 1 card on eBay. The application process does take about 2 to 3 weeks though, so as a pro tip, after applying to TCG Player, reach out to their support team. I've heard from several sellers that this can help expedite your application. While TCG Player has maybe the least amount of money compared to other platforms, I love how quick and easy it is to list cards. It's perfect for moving lower value cards that might not be worth the effort of listing on eBay. For those looking for a more interactive and entertaining selling experience, there's another platform that's quickly gaining popularity in the Pokemon community. Whatnot turned selling into a live show. I recently started selling on Whatnot, and I must say it's incredibly fun. Whatnot is a live streaming platform where you can auction your cards to viewers in real time. If you want to try it out, you can use my link in the description to sign up, and you'll get up to $150 in credit when you make your first sale. My Whatnot strategy is simple but effective. I do $1 starting sudden death auctions that last around 10 to 15 seconds. I show a card on camera, I start the auction, and viewers bid in $1 increments. The energy and excitement of live auctions makes this this method incredibly engaging, both for me and for buyers. To organize my streams, I use an app called Rare Candy to quickly scan and identify cards worth $1 or less. These become my quick run cards that I auction rapidly to keep the energy going. Behind me, I display offer cards that viewers can place bids on throughout the stream. I start all these cards at market price and let viewers make offers. Whatnot also allows you to create a sticky note with stream information that viewers can click on. My default stream info includes my grading standards, shipping details, and special offers. I'll include a template to this in my description down below as well. Setting up a product on Whatnot is pretty straightforward. Scan or search for your card, set a starting price. For most cards I do $1. Choose an auction type, so sudden death is my preference. The opposite of sudden death is just a regular auction where once someone bids and another person bids, 5 to 10 seconds is going to be added to the timer. Once you choose your type of auction, start the auction and engage with viewers. The platform I think takes around an 8 to 10% fee, but the interactive nature often leads to bidding wars that can drive prices well high above market price. I've sold common cards for $3 to $5 that would have been difficult to move for even just $1 anywhere else. Now that we've covered where to sell, let's talk about what actually sells well in the current market. What actually sells? The surprising truth. One of the most surprising things I've learned is that almost any card can sell if you find the right buyer. I can't tell you how many times I've sold a 2-cent common card for $1 or more simply because someone needed it to complete their set or they just wanted that card. That said, certain cards consistently perform better than others when it comes to selling. Based on my experience across all platforms, these are the top performers. First, you have Pikachu cards. Basically anything with Pikachu does sell quick. Chase cards from popular sets. You have Charizards, the eternal favorite. You have Gengar cards, which are another huge favorite. You have Snorlax cards, which was a surprise to me when I started selling. You have Eevee evolutions. You have trainer cards, especially for competitive players. Mew and Mewtwo cards also sell well. Rayquaza cards sell well. Tag team cards are always in demand. Vintage cards are always in demand. Think base set, jungle, fossil, or Team Rocket. Now, some full art cards sell pretty well, and there's also a fan base for scissor Pokemon collectors out there. Mega evolution cards also sell pretty well. Now, as far as which set sells particularly well right now at the time of the recording of this video, Pokemon 151 is absolutely dominating. Across all platforms, local sales, eBay, TCG Player, and whatnot, I consistently have people asking for and buying my Pokemon 151 cards. The nostalgia factor of the original 151 has created incredible demand. Remember that even cards with a $1 market value might sell for $3 to $5 to the right collector who needs that specific card. This is especially true for reverse holos and cards featuring popular Pokemon. When it comes to pricing strategy, patience has been my best friend. I typically price cards above market value and wait for the right buyer rather than rushing to undercut everyone else. Pricing strategy, patience pays off. My pricing approach might seem counterintuitive at first. I often list cards above market value and simply wait for them to sell. While this means some cards sit in my inventory longer, the overall profit is significantly higher. For in-person sales, I usually price at 90% of market value or sometimes even at full market price. Online, I follow the markup guidelines I mentioned earlier for eBay, like 10 to 15% markup depending on the card value. And then one important thing to remember is that when buying cards to resell, you're temporarily locking some of your money into inventory. So you want to be able to move cards relatively quickly so that you can reinvest in your collection or buy more inventory to resell. Now, whenever I feel like I'm holding onto a card I don't want for too long, I remind myself that this card could be sold to someone who actually wants this card. And I can use that money to expand my collection or buy more cards or products to keep. Now, this mindset helps me make practical decisions about when to lower cards prices or bundle cards together to move inventory. The key to successful casual selling is finding the right balance between maximizing profit and maintaining inventory turnover. I aim to sell most cards within about 1 to 2 months, even if that occasionally means accepting a slightly lower profit on some items. By diversifying across multiple selling platforms, I've created a steady stream of sales that keeps my inventory fresh and provides consistent funds to reinvest into my collection. Some weeks I might make more on eBay, while other weeks local sales dominate, but having multiple channels ensures that I'm never completely dependent on any single platform. Of course, selling online means you'll need to master the art of shipping cards effectively. Nothing kills your reputation and profits faster than cards arriving damaged. After shipping over 100 cards, I've developed a system to protect cards while keeping shipping costs manageable. Here's exactly how I package everything from common cards to high value cards. How to ship cards like a pro. Protecting your profits. Okay, so despite which platform you end up selling on, these are the supplies that you're going to need. So first you need penny sleeves, then then you need top loaders. And then you also need, I use two different types of envelopes. So this envelope here is 4x6. I use this when I only ship 1 to 2 cards. Okay, and the reason why I like this is because shipping labels fit perfectly onto here. And then I also have team bags, which are right here. And then I have, I think, A9 envelopes. So these are longer versions. So I use this when I ship up to 6 cards, but the total cost of the cards is under $20, okay? So with it, you can basically see that 2 top loaders can fit into this envelope. So at most, I fit 6 cards into here, but the 6 cards, 3 cards would be in each top loader, okay? So I don't put 2 top loaders. It's actually 3 cards in one top loader and 3 cards in another top loader. Now, these bags right here, these are bubble mailers, and you use this when you ship products that are above $20 in value. Other supplies that you'll need, and let me show you right over here, is that you will need, if you plan on taking this seriously, even though I said this is for casual collectors, getting sticky labels 4x6 makes this 20 times easier, okay? I used to use a printer like this, and so I would have to print the label, and then I would have to cut it out, and then I would have to tape it. But if you could imagine, this right here is a thermal printer. It cost me around like $50 to $60. I'll leave this in the link down below in the description. But let's say I'm printing out a label from eBay. It basically prints out the label, and the thermal printer doesn't use ink, which is really nice. And so I ripped the label. So let's say, pretend that this is our shipping label. So let me just write here, shipping label to make it easy. Shipping label. So what you do is that all you've got to do is peel this off and then paste it onto your bubble mailer, or you can simply paste it onto here if it's like that, which is perfectly fine. Or you can paste it onto the 4x6 envelope, which is right over here, okay? No matter where I'm selling, whether it's eBay, Whatnot, or TCG Player, I always print out packing slips, okay? And so I print it out on the same exact thermal printer label. So on Whatnot, you're able to print out packing slips. On TCG Player, you can print out packing slips. So what that essentially looks like is, let's say that this is a packing slip, right? And so with that packing slip, let me make it clear for you guys that this right here is a packing slip. So packing slip. Now, if this right here is a packing slip, and let's say that someone ordered 1 card, let's say that someone brought this card right here, okay? What I'll do is I'll actually use painter's tape, and then I will tape it just like that. And then if this is the packing slip, I'll tape the card on top of the packing slip, just like that, so that the card doesn't move around. So the tape is used here in order to make sure the card doesn't slide out. And then also tape is used here to make sure that the card doesn't move around in the envelope. So if it's a card that's under $20 worth of value, all you've got to do is place it inside here, and then it fits perfectly. And then I always use resealable envelopes, which make it super easy. You got to seal it up, and then you just paste the shipping label just like that. Now, let's pretend that someone ordered up to 2 different cards, okay? So let's say that someone ordered this card and this card here. Now, you have 2 options here. You can either take this card out, right? So you can take this card out, and you can actually place it within the top loader of this card here, if you want. So if you take this out, you could actually combine these 2 cards if you like, okay? And I'd say at most 3 would fit in a sleeve, but I wouldn't do this for higher value cards. Cards from like $1 to $5, that's fine. But you can place that here. And then let's say, so this is a 2 card order. You could actually paste this piece of tape. So if we push this down and then place the tape over so it doesn't move. And then once again, this is our shipping, or this is our packing slip, right? This is our packing slip. So the packing slip would go on top of there, and then you would just place the card or the packing slip and the card in there so it doesn't move, seal it. Let me actually show you so this is clear as possible. So like that. And then the shipping label would be like that. Now let's pretend that someone ordered 3 cards, but one of them you want to keep by itself. So that's where you can use this type of envelope. So let's say that we have our packing slip, we have 2 cards in here. What we could essentially do is that I always use the packing slip as sort of like the groundwork. So you can paste the card there. Let's say that they ordered this card here. You can cover this card. You always want to make sure that you close a card like that, and then you can line it up like that, and then you can paste another piece of tape right there. And then afterwards, you can place both cards within the envelope just like that. And usually I have to fold the packing slip. So you see how it's like there. So I usually fold the packing slip and like that. And there you have it. So at most, I would fit 3 cards in each top loader. Okay. No more than 3 cards. Now, once the value of your sale exceeds $20, that's when you're going to need to use a bubble mailer. Okay. And so you'll print your shipping label from eBay or Whatnot, and I'll show you how to print the shipping label shortly. So let's pretend that someone ordered, let's say, 7 different cards, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me actually go ahead and put this one in its own sleeve. All right, so let's say that someone ordered 7 different cards worth $50. Okay, so all 7 of these cards are worth $50. You'll have to use a bubble mailer, and you can tell which shipping label goes on what type of packaging. Like a postage label will only go into envelopes, but then a USPS ground shipping label has to go onto bubble mailer. So I'll show you the differences between the two after this. But let's say that we have 6 cards worth $50. How it'll essentially work is that I'll take all the cards out of their top loaders. Okay, so we have 6 cards, all totaled $50, right? What I'll do then is that I'll find the 2 most expensive cards. So let's say it's this card and the Dolly card. I'll top load these 2 cards, and then what I'll do is that instead of having to tape the cards above, I'll sandwich the rest of the cards between the 2 top loaders, just like that. And then I'll take a bubble mailer, which is, or not a bubble mailer, our team bag, and then I'll place the cards on top of here, just like that. And then I'll seal it like that, okay? So that the cards aren't moving, and then I have a top loader on top, and then a top loader on the bottom. Now, what I do from here is that if I'm using a bubble mailer, I'll actually get cardboard. So I have a lot of packages that are shipped to me from different boxes and such. So here's some cardboard that I just have from a leftover box. I'll actually go ahead and place this. I'll tape it like this. So let's pretend that, we'll just use this top loader actually. Sacrifice the team bag for this video. So let's say that this is a team bag. There we go, we resealed it. Now I'll get some like garbage cardboard, and what I'll do is that I'll cut over a piece like that. So let's actually go ahead and cut this in half. Okay, so we have two pieces of cardboard here. I'll place this on top of there, and all I need to do is I just need to stop it from moving around in the cardboard. So that'll be good. Just 2 pieces of tape like that. I'll place this one on top, so it's like that. And then what it'll look like is tape like that, and then like that. So it's more protected, okay? So I have it just like that. And then here we have our packing slip, and then I'll place it inside the team bag just like that, all right? And then I'll seal it, and then shipping label. Now, obviously, if you have a lot more cards, let's say that we have 2 orders and it needs to fit in 2 team bags. It's the same thing. You basically just put the other batch of cards in here, close it like that, close it, and then go ahead and place it in your bubble mailer just like that. Now, there's been one occasion, and I don't know when they force you to do this, but it's when you actually need to ship your products in a box. Just make sure, it's the same thing, guys. Just always make sure that you protect the cards, okay? That's the main priority, in which you want to make sure that all the cards are protected. And you can just use a leftover cardboard box that you have. But make sure the cards are always protected, and make sure that the package is like packed, okay? But that's essentially it as far as shipping cards go. I think I pretty much covered single cards, batches of cards, when to use this envelope versus this envelope. And let me show you now what the 2 different types of shipping labels actually look like. Okay, really quickly, I want to show you the 3 types of labels, and you'll really understand the labels as far as whether it goes onto a letter, or it goes onto bubble mailer, or it has to go onto a actual package. So this is the most common type, where it literally does look like a postage label, where the address is in the middle, and the top left hand corner is the return address, and then the upper right hand corner is going to say something like US postage first class, and then you're going to see the postage be like 69 cents or $1.29. That type of label goes onto envelopes, okay? So that's a plain white envelope shipping label. The other label that you see right here, USPS Ground Advantage, that usually goes onto bubble mailers, right? Bubble mailers. And then the last type of packaging is USPS Priority Mail. That can go onto an actual box. So you can use this label onto any box. If you have like a leftover Amazon box, just simply pack the box, use those methods that I taught you before on how to actually pack the box, and then make sure to stuff the box with like paper or bubbles. And with that, this label here will go onto an actual box. But those are the 3 types of main labels that you're most likely going to encounter. Now, as you start your selling journey, remember that building a reputation for fair pricing and accurate card descriptions is invaluable. So make sure that repeat customers and word of mouth referrals are going to be a significant part of your business, especially for local sales. As you start your selling journey, remember that building a reputation for fair pricing and accurate card descriptions is really important. Repeat customers and word of mouth referrals have become a significant part of my business, especially for local sales. And the beauty of selling Pokemon cards casually is that you can scale your efforts up or down depending on how much time you want to put into it. Some weeks I might spend several hours listing cards and meeting buyers, while other weeks I focus only on my personal collection. This flexibility makes casual selling the perfect complement to collecting. The money you make from selling duplicates and cards that you don't want can directly fund the cards you actively do want on your future collections. It's a sustainable approach that has allowed me to significantly upgrade my collection without breaking the bank. If you're just getting started, I recommend focusing on one platform first, probably local sales, and then gradually expanding to others as you become more comfortable with those processes. Each platform has its own learning curve, and trying to master all of them simultaneously can be overwhelming. Remember that knowledge of card value is also a very powerful tool. Before buying any collection or listing any card, always check current market prices. The Pokemon card market fluctuates constantly, and staying informed will help you avoid overpaying for inventory or underpricing your sales. Now, as far as pricing your cards go, I mainly run into two different types, which is English cards and Japanese cards. So for English cards, I simply just use TCG Player. Okay, so I don't even go into TCG Player, I just Google it. So this is, let's say, a Mabistoff, and then I always type the number, so 218. And that's usually enough to get an idea of what the price of a card is. And I always go by TCG Player for English. So here's TCG Player. This right here is the card, 218 out of 198. This is the exact card that I have at hand. And then I'll scroll down and I'll check the market price. So the market price of this is 484. I'll add like maybe 10 or 20% to it. Now, if your card is damaged, card quality is extremely important. You want to make sure that you change the price point from near mint foil to, let's say, click on view more data, click on filter sales, and then click on lightly played. You can see that the lightly played is above the near mint price, which doesn't really make sense. So make it make sense. So when that's the case, you would just go by the near mint price being 484. But you would still make sure that you mark this as lightly played. So always make sure that you check card conditions as far as pricing goes. Now for Japanese cards, especially because some of these cards, I have no idea what the name of the Pokemon is, I'll use Google and I'll just type in the number 0575 out of 066 and I'll say Pokemon Japanese. And that'll usually be enough to find it on eBay. So this is not the card. So I usually check it on eBay when it comes to Japanese cards. So we'll try it again. Japanese. And so let's see, 0506. So this is the card right here. So I'll click on this card and then I'll get the name and I'll copy and paste it again. And then I'll scroll down and then where it says show only, you want to click on sold items. So this gives me an idea of what this card recently sold for. So it sold for around $3.30 to $4-ish. So that gives me an idea of what to price this card. And so finding Japanese cards is a bit more tedious, but that's how I actually go ahead and price check cards. I use eBay last sold, and then I use TCG Player market prices. So there you have it, guys. That right there is the beginner's guide to how to sell Pokemon cards casually. And again, if you're interested in signing up for PokeNotify, there is a free 3-day trial down below. If you use the code PALETPICS25, you'll get 25% off your first month. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.